So now we're going to be moving on to Pierre Poilievre, as you can see. And first, we're going to be watching a clip of Stephen Harper praising Pierre Poilievre. Trigger warning, Stephen Harper. He is a massive trigger for me. I am shocked I have been able to say his name so many times without completely gagging because I hate this man so much. So much. So basically, he praised Pierre and said basically that everything that's wrong in Canada right now isn't Donald Trump's fault. It's the liberals' fault. It's all the liberals. It is the liberals. It's my Harper version.
Thanks to Chief Moran, the next member.
Sorry, I just saw Harper's face.
Parliament for Edmonton Northwest.
See, my impression isn't that far off.
Wow, what a fantastic crowd. Thank you.
What a fantastic crowd.
Thank you, Edmonton.
Edmonton.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for making yourself a positive part of the most important decision that this country is going to make.
I love how Pierre's podiums just have a maple leaf on them now. God, I think he realized the slogans were a little too tall for him.
In decades.
Making him look a little too
Canada
silly.
right now needs change more desperately than it.
Not from the Conservatives. No more Harper. No more Harper. Please, please, God, I do not want to deal with fucking Harper anymore. Oh my God, please. I grew up in the Harper era, and my first time voting was to literally vote Harper out. So, needless to say, I do not want to deal with Stephen fucking Harper ever again. Ever again. As long as I can, I do not want to have to deal with the Harper government or a conservative government, to be honest. The amount of scandals that came out, not only the amount of scandals that came out, the lack of affordable housing, the racism, like, oh, and by the way, Pierre Poilievre, he used to work under Harper. He was his housing minister for a while. He was other ministers for him for a while. He was his little TV attack dog for a while too. So like, do not make me relive that again. I voted liberal. I hate the liberals. I voted liberal to get this man out. Do not make me relive that shit again. No. I know. No. Never. Never again.
Perhaps ever has. And it needs someone to lead that change, my friends. As someone who had the honor of serving as your Prime Minister.
Sorry, this is a lot for me. This is a lot for me to go through. Listening to his fucking voice again.
I know. I know that.
How short the memories of conservatives are. Even they hate, well, not all conservatives, but even the majority of them also did not like Harper towards the end. I say this as the grandchild of somebody who loves Stephen Harper, so much so that she had a Stephen Harper calendar in her kitchen. Ugh.
Being Prime Minister is a trust.
I know way too much about this man. I hope your eyes hurt, sir. He has this thing where his eyes, I'm gonna Harper info dump now. He has this thing where his eyes can't be like, you know, in too many bright lights, and it like hurts him. I hope this hurts you, sir. I hope this hurts you more than it hurts me.
It is a trust to take this incredible country that our ancestors bequeathed us and to leave it stronger, more united, more compassionate, and more confident than we found it.
Been to Turkey recently, sir? Looks like he's got hair plug scars back there. Hello.
That's what we did, my friends. But that is not the story of the past decade, and that has got to change.
Do you mean like the 10 years that we had to fucking suffer underneath you, sir? You mean like the 10 years that we had to fucking suffer underneath you? Okay.
For Canada. You know, friends, I am in a unique position in this federal election. I am the only person who can say that both of the men running to be Prime Minister once worked for me.
Yeah, and apparently Mark Carney helped keep Canada from, suffering as much as the Americans did during the American-made 2008 financial crisis. So, what you gotta say about that there, Harper? Steven.
And in that regard, my choice, without hesitation, without equivocation.
Because you're so caring about people having choice, aka he's not pro-choice, not him or his conservative government, and Pierre
Equivocation, without a shadow of a doubt, is Pierre Poilievre. I have known Pierre Poilievre for a quarter of a century, since he was a very young man.
And since he got his pension at 31, almost fucking 15 years ago.
The first time I met him, I could see that he was smart, articulate, possessing tremendous passion for our country and strong convictions about sound public policy. In 2000,
sound convictions like making it harder for younger people and indigenous people and old people to vote, preventing Elections Canada from being able to talk to young people through college programs to, try to advertise the young voters. You mean like those? Oh, or do you mean like in the next clip that I'm going to show, where Pierre Poilievre, had some choice words in regards to your apology to the Indigenous population of Canada? Do you mean any of that?
2004, during the time of my leadership, Pierre's parliamentary career began. He went progressively from a backbench MP to a parliamentary secretary.
And that is his entire resume because he didn't do fuck all before becoming a politician.
To a junior cabinet minister, to a senior cabinet minister, and of course, to party leader. And in all of those roles, he worked, he fought, and he learned. Because it is not just that Pierre excelled in all of those roles. In all of them, he grew. He got better and better. Friends, don't let anyone tell you that he was born to be Prime Minister, or that he can just somehow parachute into the job fully prepared. Political experience, elected, accountable political experience, and the capacity for growth with that political experience, that is what...
Elected accountable? Are you implying that Mark Carney wasn't elected? See, unlike Pierre Poilievre, Harper was a little bit more subtle. And I mean a little bit more subtle. Don't even get him started on Muslims, who he literally created a hotline for ethnic. Wait, let me get the fucking headline. Actually, let me get the thing. I don't want to mess this up because it is actually fucking horrible what he did. Let me go click on my tiki-taki. Out of the way, bitch. All right. Ah, an ethnic cultural practices hotline. This man right here. There are many reasons why I hate Harper. And that is one of the many for sure.
Pierre has demonstrated for 2 decades, and that is the single most important characteristic a prime minister needs.
And your eyes being white? Oh God, why do your eyes look like that?
And by the way, I say that as the guy who actually did lead Canada through the global financial crisis.
With the help of Mark Carney. As much as you and your sycophants like to say otherwise. Oh my God, every still of him is terrible.
I hear there's someone else claiming it was him. It was, of course, our government, the late, great Jim Flaherty, and our conservative team who were responsible for the day-to-day macroeconomic management.
1 second.
During that challenging time.
Oh my God, I think he is. He's wearing a thin blue line Canadian flag.
And friends.
Oh my God, I hate this man so much. 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 Oh my God, I hate everything about him.
It's no secret that our country faces today another historically challenging time in the form of the Trump administration.
You mean like
there is no sugarcoating
being
that.
Served by you?
But the bulk of the problems that afflict our country, falling living standards, declining employment and housing opportunities.
Oh, you mean like how your government promised to create affordable housing and to have a federal housing plan that you just never did? That you just never fucking did? My parent, who works in like housing and stuff like that, started working in housing during his fucking administration. So I've had many long talks about all the failings in his government when it comes to fucking housing. Ugh.
Rising
and employment. Let's be so real.
Crime. The growing divisions between.
Oh my God, we get it. He was a big war on crime guy too. His politics, for anybody who doesn't know who Stephen Harper is, were very like Reagan-esque and Thatchery. Like, ugh.
Between our regions and our people.
Just neoliberal.
These were
all the
not
way.
created by Donald Trump. They were
created by me, Stephen Harper.
They were created by the policies of
Stephen Harper, of 3 terms of Stephen Harper, and the Conservative Party of Canada.
Liberal terms, policies that the present Prime Minister supported and wants a fourth Liberal term to continue.
We had three
Pierre
of you and got rid of
has
you
consistently
for a reason.
opposed those policies. Policies that have put costs up, accelerated crime, left our wealth in the ground, and made our economy vulnerable and under America's thumb. And Pierre has, just as importantly, long advocated the positive alternatives for change, to axe those taxes.
Literally everything Stephen Harper did during his terms. Just that is almost to a T everything that Pierre Poilievre is doing now. He just wants to be Harper again. If he doesn't want to be Trump, he wants to be Stephen fucking Harper. Which no thank you. I don't want to live through fucking Harper again. I know some people out there who are old enough to vote, which shocking, scary, ew. Not you in a bad way, you in a I feel fucking decrepit way, are old enough to vote and did not live underneath your fucking regime. But it was terrible. It was terrible enough that we all voted for Pierre Trudeau's fucking son.
Build homes.
Unlike what Stephen fucking Harper did, which was not build homes.
Bring back jobs. Get our resources to the whole world. And stand up to Washington from a position of strength.
Unlike what you did.
Friends, I believe that the challenge this country faces today from the United States, as real and serious as it is, should not be another excuse for Liberal failure.
The Liberals haven't been blaming fucking housing on fuck. They should have been. They did. They're not blaming the fucking housing crisis and the fucking affordability crisis on fucking Donald Trump. I mean, he wants to fucking annex our country. God fucking damn.
Instead, it should be a historic opportunity. That's how we've got to see it. An opportunity to make Canada what it should be. Internally united, internationally connected, a truly independent economy with the highest living standards in the world.
That is the extent of Harper I can handle. There's still 2 minutes left, and I am tapping out. Okay, so we are now going to be talking about when Pierre Poilievre decided that he wasn't going to combat he wasn't going to sorry, the word has escaped me. He wasn't going to denounce the MP who decided that he was going to participate in residential school denial, which here in Canada is absolutely horrid. The residential school system was specifically created to completely culturally and physically also genocide the Indigenous people of Canada, and something that only ended in 1996. I was 2 when the fucking residential schools closed, okay? And there are people who are alive today who experience residential schools. There are generations of families who experience residential schools. And before we even get to, his response of the his response to the MP's residential school denial, but we are also going to be getting into what Pierre Poilievre had to say in regards to residential schools and indigenous people of his own fruition. The first thing we're going to be hearing is here Pierre Poilievre's 2008 response to Stephen Harper's apology for residential schools.
In 2008, the federal government, under then Prime Minister Harper, issued an apology.
Now, along with this apology comes another $4 billion in compensation for those who partook in the residential schools over those years. Now, some of us are starting to ask, are we really getting value for all of this money? And is more money really going to solve the problem? My view is that we need to engender the values of hard work and independence and self-reliance. That's the solution in the long run. More money will not solve it.
Because, neoliberal individualism is just the way to go. Now we're going to be watching Pierre Poilievre criticized for speech to group linked to residential school denial. So this is just something that is just part of Pierre Poilievre. This came out 2 years ago. And Pierre Poilievre, no shame in this whatsoever. I genuinely believe that he also is just a residential school denier himself.
Thank you.
Pierre Poilievre says he's here on the invitation of a Conservative MP, standing up for freedom of expression.
He said, Pierre, do you believe in free speech? I said yes. He said, how would you like to give one?
His decision to appear before this particular think tank is generating criticism from his political opponents.
Playing footsie with a think tank that has taken some pretty extreme right-wing views.
The Frontier Center for Public Policy has published articles questioning climate change and denouncing vaccine mandates. But what seems to be driving a lot of this criticism, radio ads it released in 2018, claiming to debunk myths about residential schools.
Myth: residential schools robbed Indigenous Canadians of their language and culture.
It did. They did. Them and the Catholic Church in Canada did. 100%.
Fact.
If we're going to be, praising our history and wanting to acknowledge our history, we should be acknowledging all of our history, including the bad bits. We shouldn't be ignoring them. We should be acknowledging them, right? Not according to these people.
Former students of residential schools were more likely to have retained more of their language and traditional culture.
That's not true. They were beaten for speaking their language or doing any of their practices, including keeping their hair long.
Poilievre is legitimizing.
We're going to be watching videos on it. You'll see.
He owes more than an apology. I mean, he should be stepping down from his position.
All those
Fucking greed. 2 years too late, mind you, but fucking greed.
Opposed to the motion will please say nay. Carried.
Last fall, New Democrat MP Leah Gazan got the House of Commons to recognize what happened at residential schools as genocide. A unanimous vote. She says Poilievre is now undermining.
He's fraternizing with an organization that has led the charge in regards to residential school denialism in this country.
The Frontier Center calls the uproar silly.
What we need to do is be able to listen to each other and understand each other well and not just simply name.
No. Just no. If you are somebody who is participating in genocide denial, in residential school denial, your voice is no fucking weight to it whatsoever, besides needing to be ignored and needing to be fucking
People.
In a statement, Poilievre's office points out speaking before a group does not mean endorsing its views. It says Poilievre denounces all forms of racism and bigotry, adding that the CBC has faced its own accusations of systemic racism.
Because he always has to fucking attack the CBC.
From one of its unions. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Ew from Pierre. So now we're actually going to be getting into a couple of news stories talking about the Conservative MP directly. And then after that, we were going to be going into a Heritage Minute video about the residential schools. The first one about the residential schools, which is shocking considering how long the fucking residential schools were, followed by a Vice TV clip about the residential schools.
It's a foundation of the Conservative plan to cut red tape. Leader Pierre Poilievre touring South Okanagan concrete products in Osoyoos, British Columbia. If elected, the Conservatives will eliminate 25% of all red tape within first 2 years in office. Require that for every $1 new administrative costs, $2 must be cut elsewhere. And every year, the Auditor General would have to review the numbers. It's unclear how much this would save exactly.
Today, the federal government imposes 149,000 individual rules on our small businesses. That's 20,000 more than there were a decade ago.
Poilievre also asked about North Island candidate Aaron Gunn. Various mayors and councillors on Vancouver Island sending a letter to the Conservatives accusing Gunn of denying the impacts of residential schools, all from old social media posts.
So this is what Aaron Gunn, the MP who is endorsing Pierre Poilievre and who Pierre Poilievre hasn't denounced yet, has said. There was no genocide. There literally was. Stop lying to people and read a book. Maybe you should fucking read a book. Maybe you should read a book. The Holocaust was a genocide, and so was the fucking cultural and actual legitimate genocide towards the indigenous populations in Canada. Get off Twitter and learn more about the world. Maybe you should take your own fucking advice, Aaron. Aaron.
The Conservative leader is sticking by his candidate, and there's now an additional letter from mayors and councillors supporting Gunn.
He has not denied the impact of residential schools. That's just misinformation. In fact, he has said that he wants to continue to condemn the residential schools and build stronger partnerships with First Nations people to unlock our resources.
This is Poilievre's second trip to British Columbia already during this campaign. Liberal leader Mark Carney still hasn't arrived in British Columbia. There are a number of seats up for grabs. The NDP won 13 in the province 4 years ago, and the sense is, based on polling, many of those could be up for grabs, including this one in the Okanagan.
It's great to be back in the Okanagan. I think it's my favorite place in the world, actually. Brings back so many memories of camping trips we used to do. As you know, I'm an Albertan, and we are that alien species that comes and invades your province every summer.
Poilievre also taking a spin in Oliver, showcasing a...
That was so cringe, by the way. Him and his little race car track thing.
Oliver, showcasing a key part of the tourism economy before speeding off to Metro Vancouver for events on Sunday.
All right, now we're moving in the next video about this.
Calls continue to grow for the Conservative Party of Canada to drop BC candidate Aaron Gunn over past comments about residential schools. Gunn made posts.
This is a different tweet from Aaron Gunn. Residential schools were asked by Indigenous bands in Eastern Ontario. No. When Sir John A. Macdonald was still a teenager. But hey, why let the truth get in the way of a good headline? Sir John A. Macdonald literally said that he wanted residential schools to be created so that he could kill the Indian and save the man. But what would we know? I mean, I've only just read fucking books on it.
On X between 2019 and 2021, denying that Indigenous people
there was no genocide. We
faced genocide in Canada. He is now running as the Conservative candidate for North Island Powell River. A group of current and former elected officials in BC issued a letter Sunday demanding Gunn withdraw his candidacy.
Very much a bipartisan letter that's been signed by people from all political stripes.
The letter states Gunn's views and statements are particularly concerning and harmful in a riding with a large number of First Nations constituents.
The comments have not been properly addressed. There's been no accountability for those comments in the first place, and you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, is what I've been saying to people.
Gunn took to X saying, "I have always been firm in recognizing the truly horrific events."
Bruh, the internet is forever. We know that's not true.
That transpired in residential schools, and any attempt to suggest otherwise is simply false. The Conservatives also pointing to a letter of support for Gunn, saying his
yeah, so the letter of support says, and the writing is really small, so I'm gonna have to get really close. The public deserves the truth. Aaron Gunn has been a tireless advocate for taxpayers, a firm supporter of our resource sector, and a nationally renowned filmmaker on important issues such as public safety and the addiction crisis. Oh God, I can only imagine what he has been saying about the addiction crisis. I do not want to fucking know. Oh my God, as the child of a mental health worker, I'm guessing it's not great. As elected representative across the North Island Powell River riding, we feel compelled to speak out in strong support of Aaron Gunn, whose character and record have been profoundly misrepresented in a troubling smear campaign. He literally posted this shit on fucking Twitter himself, but whatever, okay. Whatever you have to tell yourself. This is just copium, in my opinion. Please tell me you watched I Saw TV Club. No, I did not. Aaron has smear campaign. Significantly, the false accusations of residential school denialism. I'm sorry. Of the significant are specifically the false accusations of residential school denialism. Bruh, he literally did it. Did not meet the threshold of genocide. Wait, okay, I skipped, but it's already getting worse. It's already getting worse. Aaron Gunn and the cons cannot say is false. Like it's on your account. Seriously though, right? He posted it himself on Twitter and left it there. Like, goddamn. Sorry, I scared my guinea pigs clapping too loud. Bro has an interesting YouTube channel. It's like, oh my God, this letter from Conservatives was literally mentioning that he's a renowned filmmaker in regards to covering the addiction crisis in British Columbia, and I can only imagine the crap he's got on there. Aaron has respectfully recognized the truly horrific experience of many First Nations who attended the residential schools, or attended the schools, and has always condemned those institutions where abuse occurred. Yeah, and I'm a world-renowned source, trust me. Aaron's own content. Sorry, it's really small on the here. Contention that residential schools did not meet the threshold of genocide. They did do genocide. And that Canada is not a genocidal state. It is. It's also a colonial one too. Is hardly unreasonable, and so he didn't do genocide denial, but they're saying that he did, basically, as an excuse that he didn't. Is hardly reasonable and certainly not disqualifying from respecting our incredible, or from representing, our incredible region. We stand with Aaron Gunn, recognizing his determination, or oh my God, it's so blurry. Dictation to North Island Powell River and his determined efforts to bring about meaningful change. We urge media outlets, interest groups, and individuals alike to uphold fairness and accuracy in their reporting, and to foster a public discourse where differing views are heard, not silenced. Oh no, it got covered. I'm sorry. I can't even with this letter. Why didn't he make a statement instead of making the party do so? Honestly, it's giving coward. It's giving coward. We strongly support Aaron representing the Conservative Party on the ballot and encourage residents to vote for who they believe will best represent our region on election day. Signed, and then it has like so many. The mayor of Campbell City, councilor of Campbell City, another councilor, just a whole
character and record have been profoundly misrepresented in a troubling smear campaign. Speaking in Halifax Sunday, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh called on Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre to drop gun.
Those comments are heinous, they're hurtful, and they're frankly clearly wrong. At a minimum, people should expect that we acknowledge the harm that they suffered. And what Aaron Gunn is doing.
You mean like acknowledging the harm that Israel has done to the Palestinian people? Jagmeet Singh, NDP party?
Is diminishing that, and that is absolutely wrong. And the fact that Pierre Poilievre is standing beside a candidate is also wrong.
Poilievre addressed the media Saturday saying that information was false, and Gunn has not denied the impact of residential schools.
So that's just misinformation. In fact, he has said that he wants to continue to condemn the residential schools and build stronger partnerships with First Nations people to unlock our resources so that we can produce incredible paychecks and opportunities for First Nations communities right across British Columbia.
Meantime, Liberal leader Mark Carney arrived in Victoria Sunday and is set to meet with Premier David Eby Monday to discuss launching a Team Canada approach to support workers in the forestry sector.
I think it's funny how the Conservatives are now trying to flip the script and be like, oh, Mark Carney's dad was anti-Indigenous people, so like he's just as bad. And it's like, yeah, his dad was. It doesn't mean he was. Like, I know people in my family who don't believe in the residential schools or in the genocide of Indigenous people, and I've corrected them many times and tried to educate them many times, but that doesn't mean their views equivalent to mine. I've never heard him say that, Pierre, why don't we get him to come out and say that? Yeah.
In response to the latest U.S. decision on softwood lumber duties. In Vancouver, Lauren Stallone, City News.
All right, so now we're going to be moving on to, like I said, videos about the residential schools. So the first one that we're going to be watching, if you want to see it, you can go onto my Twitch and watch it there with me, is a history minute. This whole gun thing has my attention. I cannot let him win. Honestly, he does not deserve to win at all. Like, at all. Just like residential school denial is literally genocide denial and is not right whatsoever. But we're going to be reacting to a couple videos on residential schools for people who might not know. Trigger warning for anybody whose families were impacted by this. Take care of yourself before learning, right? And for anybody who doesn't know, historic minutes are a PSA thing that we have here in Canada. And they used to show on TV. I don't even know if they show on TV anymore, but they're all over YouTube.
Johnny wanted to go back home. It was 1,000 kilometers away. They forced him to go to the Indian residential school. More than 150,000 of us children had to go. They wanted to change us.
Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name.
Hallowed be your name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come.
thy will be done.
Thy will be done. Kill the Indian and the child. It's been called cultural genocide. I survived residential school. My brother Johnny did not.
Chani Wenjack was one of thousands of children who died due to Canada's residential school system. More than 80,000 survivors and their families still live with its legacy today.
There's not only people who are going to residential schools who were victims of it, but there were also babies who were born of the residential schools, bastard children of the priests who were committing CA or CSA on the students of the residential schools, and their babies were usually burned alive in furnaces. It is absolutely horrible.
We're here.
Now we're going to be moving on to another video about the residential schools. Indigenous people in Canada, residential schools rise by Vice TV.
Portage la Prairie, Indian residential school. This place was constructed in 1960, and it's been standing for about 100 years. And today we have some residential school survivors that are going to be taking us around this place. Do you remember your first memory here?
We had long hair when we first went into the residential school. Beautiful. I had ringlets, really beautiful ringlets.
But they cut your hair as soon as you
They cut our
go.
hair really short.
I said, what's going on? I kept asking my sister, what's in Indian? Because I didn't speak English.
The Canadian government created and helped run the residential school system, which was meant to kill the Indian in the child. After being forced to leave their families, many children suffered horrific abuses, such as rape, torture, and even death.
I don't think our parents knew what was happening in those schools. They didn't know the horrors. They didn't know the loneliness, and the deprivation of food, and they didn't know any of.
They don't talk about it in this, but a lot of the kids were also legitimately kidnapped too by the RMC and ripped from the arms of their parents and forced to go to these schools as well. It was not voluntary, not at all.
That.
And we never talked about it.
And that wasn't talked about after you went home during the summer. You didn't talk about the beatings. You didn't talk about the being raped or whatever. You didn't talk about those things when you went home during the summer. You just didn't. This is the basement of the residential school. On this side was where the staff ate.
What kind of foods did they have in here?
They had the best. They had fruit. They had salads and meats. Just the best. But a different story.
There's a painting that show the kidnapping of Indigenous kids by RMC captures the pain. I've seen that painting, and you're so right. It totally does. I'll see if I can pull it up here for anybody on Twitch to see. It's literally the first one that pops up when I type in residential school and painting. There's a couple of them actually of people being taken away from their parents. So here's what the chatter on TikTok was talking about. Yep, this pretty accurately captures it. And not only is there RMC there, but there are also priests also taking children. Like, has the mother by the hair, a nun here taking a child away from another child, children running away. And then here is another one. Oh no, it's the same one. Not that one, not that one. This one too. See a mother, the child, father on the ground. It's just so fucking devastating. I already read that one.
for the residents.
We were used to rabbit, deer meat, and stuff like that. And here it was like the white man's food.
Did you guys ever refuse to eat?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Oh, yeah.
I had sat beside a young girl one time when she was throwing up because it was really lumpy porridge, and then it hit us like this real hard. And we had to eat her. We still had to eat her. Our vomit. Eating it.
There's a part of me that thinks like it'd be easier just to forget.
Like, how could you deny that pain? Like, that is just, it's so monstrous to me that anybody has the gall to fucking question these people.
And just like burn this place down, you know?
There's been schools that have been burnt down, where the whole community have actually burnt down the schools because of the memories of their schools. But our chief at the time decided we can do something with this building. We can provide healing ceremonies for our people here.
To be able to go through these places and talk about these memories, does it provide healing for you to be able to do
Every
this?
time it does, yeah. It lessens the pain.
This is hard for me. My mom and dad are both survivors, and a lot of the stories that you say are they're echoed, even though she's in Alberta. You know, they just, like, my mom always talks about loneliness.
There's all kinds of pain in this world, right?
Yeah.
There's torture, there's everything. But they say
I went to a residential school for elementary. That school also got torn down later in Lit. Wow. I'm really sorry that happened. That's absolutely fucking devastating. And ugh, just horrible. I'm sorry.
the greatest pain is the loneliness.
Yeah.
To be abandoned. And that's what we felt.
So that was Vice talking about the residential schools. Just horrible. My father went when it was a residential school. This stuff wasn't long ago. It really wasn't. It was not at all. It was not at all, honestly. And the fact that people are trying to treat it like it's ancient history and trying to rewrite that same history too, it's disgusting. It's baffling to me. I don't understand just how people can dehumanize themselves to the point where they think it's appropriate and normal to want to lie about that kind of stuff, honestly.